What's up, everyone? Drunken Phoenix here. So today I'm going to go over some of these TikTok videos regarding people having home buyer remorse. Believe it or not, you guys, there are a lot of people that have regret buying a home for the past few years. I guess like since we were in like the roaring 20s. Fun fact: roaring is a very difficult word for me to pronounce, so I don't know if I even said it right. But anyway. So people are regretting buying their homes for a variety of reasons. They may feel that they may not like the location that they're in. They feel like investment wise, it just wasn't worth it for them in their particular situation. Some people feel that, they're what they're called house poor, where the only thing that they're able to afford is their mortgage and nothing else. So anyway, for me personally, and it's just for me and my circumstances, what I would advise people, but of course, you know your circumstances better than anybody else, but I am more on team buy a home. I think it's a way better investment and a way better, I think it's way better to put your money towards real estate than it is to just put it towards rent. However, I know everybody's situation is different and it may not be worth that for everyone, Like for instance, like if you're in a place like New York, when you're working, trying to grind, and you're like early 20s, it might be better to rent because you might not want to buy the homes there. You may not be planning on being there long term, or for whatever reason. Everybody doesn't have to buy a home. If you want to rent. For me, I prefer to own. But with no further ado, we're going to get into some of these videos.
Y'all, I am regretting buying a house. My fiance and I have not even lived in it for a year, and we had to buy an AC unit already, which is thousands and thousands of dollars. Obviously necessary and worth it, but very unfortunate. We're also trying to plan a wedding, so that was not ideal for the budget. And then we had to add gutters, and then on top of that, we now probably have to replace our water heater. Just can't catch a break. And before anyone comes at me, we did have an inspection. None of it was flagged. So it's been a rough day. It's been a rough couple of months.
Yeah, so that is one of the cons of being a homeowner, is that whenever there's an issue with like the AC, or in my case, toilets, whenever there's an issue with something needs to be replaced, you're pretty much responsible for replacing it yourself. And I think that is one pro that you have when it comes to renting, because you can just call the landlord or whoever you're renting from, and just saying, hey, the AC, what's up with that? Or, the gutters need to be fixed. But when you are a homeowner, all that responsibility does fall on you, and that could get very costly very fast. So that is, like I said, that's being a homeowner isn't for everyone, and I get it. But that is something to keep in mind. So that's why I'm going to go with these videos, just to show the other side.
To be really controversial when I say this, and I'm talking to all of our parents out there. Buying a house does not make you successful. Don't worry, I did it by myself at 30, and so I'm going to walk you through why I would never fucking do it again. Specifically in California or LA, and I mean by myself. I signed those documents as a single woman, first and last name, because that's how they do it. If you have a partner that would split that with you, I think that's a completely different story. Again, bought my house by myself in LA. Let's go over the pricing. I bought a townhouse in LA, a 1-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom. It was $465,000. I bought it in 2021 because I thought that was going to be the cheapest thing possible. I had an interest rate of less than 3%. It was 2.99%. Things that I could not have factored in: HOA increasing. My HOA from month 1 went to $299, and then year 3 went to $486. The reason I'm talking about this is because my house is on the market. I am selling it for $535. Okay, so I'm gonna minus broker's fees, improvements, escrow fees, title insurance, and corrective worker repairs. With that being all added up, my profit at the end of the day for 4 years is $15,206. I put 10% down. That's $46,000, okay? If I would have taken that $46,000 and for the exact same time period, so don't be like, the market's not reliable, the exact same time period, February 2021 to June of 2024, I would have made a profit of $21,644. So the difference of that would be that I was up $5,000. And
I regret buying this house. That's what I've been.
So for the blonde girl, I think her biggest mistake was buying a house in LA. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get what she's saying. I mean, I think one thing that she said that caught my attention was those HOA fees. Those things do go up. I don't think they ever go down, and that is something that can be very annoying, But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not for everybody. Yeah, but spending over $400,000 for a townhome in LA, that is. I guess somebody has to buy the homes, but I just don't. I couldn't tell you that wasn't a good investment unless you're just like super rich. But
Thinking every single day for like the past 2 months. It has been hell, and I lost control, and I was just able to gain back control. There's nothing that sucks more than working so hard to achieve a goal like this, and to not even feel at home in my own house is absolutely heartbreaking. Like, I worked so hard for this house, and I've been homeless before, and I should be grateful, and I am, but with everything going on, it's kind of hard to, but I'm ready, and I have a mindset to completely take ownership of this house and move forward from here on out. I wanted to do everything at once, which was a big mistake. Every single house owner that I've spoken to just told me the same thing. It's a process, it's baby steps, and you're not going to get everything done in one day. Give yourself grace, just focus on the things you need to focus on, and the rest will fall into place.
I'm at a really weird crossroads in my life, and I can't really figure out what I want to do. For background, we bought a house in upstate New York in 2021, and I'm kind of regretting it. There's not really anything to do around here, and it's becoming really depressing. The reason why we bought a house here was because I was remote, but my boyfriend still had to go into an office. So we were looking for houses that were kind of around the same area so that he could still commute. And then afterwards, he got a job that was remote 3 months into moving into the house. I think if we were both remote, we probably would have been looking for houses that were somewhere else. Like, I'm finding out that I'm much more of a city person rather than a country person since being here. And I kind of already knew that, but moving here definitely made me know for sure that I am more of a city person than a country person. We're in the
okay, yeah, so he's going to continue rambling. But yeah, this is another example, I feel, of buying a house in the wrong place. Whenever I would say if you're in a location that you are not very fond of or that you don't want to live long term, I would not recommend buying a house. I don't care if you have the money. Like, there's like, I know there's like some people that are like, a lot of these, what kind of people you call them? Like, the people that pull yourself up by your bootstrap people that just always just say things like, "Oh, you could buy a house. I bought a house in the middle of Mississippi. I bought a house in Wyoming." Well, you're in Mississippi. Nobody wants to live there. Shout out to my viewers in Mississippi. But my point is, if you're going to buy a house, I mean, you have to realize that buying a house, that is a commitment, and you are. Once you sign those papers, you are committed to that home for a while. I mean, you can always sell it, but that's not always going to be easy, and it's not going to just be something you could just do really quickly. Like, you're going to have to. It's going to take a tremendous amount of time and effort. So you do have to have a commitment to that home if you do want to live there for a short time. If you decide it's not for you, so I think it should go without saying that whenever you buy your home, make sure that it's in a location that you would like to live at. Don't. If you don't want to live in upstate New York, you probably shouldn't buy a home there. I thought that was common sense. I mean, not to disparage this guy here, but yeah.
I became a homeowner at 22 years old, and I instantly regretted that shit, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you why I regretted it, though. So, I ended up putting 78,000 down on my house, right? And once you get your house right, you become house poor. Okay? Now, everybody's not gonna be house poor. I was house poor. I'm just speaking from my experience, bro. I'm young as shit, buying a house. I'm house poor at this point. I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? I did not really gauge all the maintenance that it took to take care of a house. On top of that, I had to put work into the house. They sold us the house, right? Sold the house with mold in it. How did I not know it was mold in it? Did you not get an inspector? Yeah, I had an inspector. This what these dirty, nasty, gritty people did. Scantless, right? They painted over the mold so thick that the detectors couldn't get it. And it didn't even smell like mold down there, nothing. It was all dry, right? So I had to go in, get the walls chopped out, get the house waterproof, whatever that came up to. So this is just more stuff you got to come out of. But all in all, I would say that I really regretted it once I figured out how much the maintenance was, bro. And like how often you got to do certain things. And obviously it makes it a little sweeter that it's your shit and it's an investment. But for me personally, I just was not ready for that. Now the house is about to sell. I actually don't know what I'm going to do with the cash that I do get from the house. Obviously, I might invest in another property. I think that's where my head's at. But just something to like rent out or something. You know what I'm saying? Not to live in. I can't do it. I'd rather live in an apartment. I'm going to be honest. You can call me crazy all you want. But I just feel like at this point in my life, I should be living in an apartment, bro. A house is a lot. It's a lot.
Transparency post. I regret buying a house. I regret it a lot. If I could go back to January 2022, I would tell that girl, do not. Just find another apartment to move into, because doing all this shit that I have to do for this house and all the unexpected costs, high dollar unexpected costs that I keep running into, to be handling it by myself, it's ass. So to all you young women who want to go out and buy a home, I encourage you to really, really think about it. Talk to some people and really see the ins and outs. I mean, it always sounds good. Oh yeah, your mortgage is only going to be $1,000 until they reevaluate your property taxes, and that bitch goes up $200. You know, it's trash. 85 degrees, your AC is going to go out. You don't want to know how much that costs. It's trash.
Buyer's remorse, aka cold feet, is not talked about enough when buying a house, especially when it's your first house. It's a feeling of regret, maybe a little bit of uneasiness, basically exactly how I felt in my last video. So now that I'm feeling better about my home purchase, let's talk about how I got over buyer's remorse. First off, I really thought about the concerns that I had and how they would affect my life, whether I was renting or buying. For example, I was so worried about how I would pay for my mortgage if I never sold another house again. But if I'm renting and I never sell a house again, then I still have to pay my rent. So what's the difference? Second, I made a pros and cons list if I were to buy a house and if I continue to rent. For example, all of my rent money right now is going to my apartment complex. When I buy a house, all of my mortgage money is going to go to me. So years from now, when I'm ready to sell it, I'll have all this money built into this house for me. I can cash it out and probably buy something nicer. If I keep renting, I'm basically draining my bank account. Also, where I'm renting, I have to pay all these ridiculous fees. For example, I pay for a trash valet service every month. Do I ever use it? No. I can't paint my walls. I can't make any changes. I can barely put holes in the wall. I can hear every move my neighbors make because the walls are so thin. And lastly, I just keep looking at pictures of my place. It's perfect. It's everything I wanted. And then the excitement starts to take over. This all made me realize that my net worth and my quality of life will be so much better if I just buy. If you're a first-time home buyer, don't be afraid of buyer's remorse.
Okay, so I thought it would have been nice to end the video with this young lady here, just because, there's a lot of negativity, but just to, I thought it was more a great way to end it. So my thoughts, of course, whether you want to buy or rent, that's up to the person and their situation. Everybody's situation is different, and everybody may not be meant to buy, and everybody is not meant to rent, However, I will say, because I am an advocate for buying at least some point in your life when the time is right. And the reason I say that, for me personally, why I decided to be a homeowner was because for one thing, even though you always have to deal with people, but I didn't like when I was renting Like anytime there was an issue with my place, I always had to contact people, and then they wouldn't fix it, or they'll try to they'll just do a half-ass job, you know. Like I remember specifically there was an issue with my AC unit, and I was going back and forth with the people months just to get it fixed, because the person would come and then the issue wasn't fixed, or then he'll come and then there was another issue, then it started leaking, or then it wouldn't work at all, you know. So I had to deal with that. I also in my situation, I didn't like how when I was renting, I remember that the price of their rent, like after the second year, the price increased significantly, like a lot. Like I don't remember the exact numbers, but I remember it was something. I think it increased by like $400. So that's something. I know mortgages can go up. That hasn't really been the case for me. Also, I love the freedom of being able to do whatever I want to my place, like as far as decoration goes, or like painting the walls, like she said, or you know, I mean, granted, you guys see my backdrop is not really decorative right now, but one day. And also, but that's just me though. But I mean, of course, you know, it's not for everyone. I mean, I also happen to live in a city that I really love, and I would like to stay long term, at least for the foreseeable future. So that's just me. But you know, like you've seen with multiple people in these videos, there are a lot of things to consider when being a home buyer. So you have to consider that you have to ask yourself: are you in a location that you like? Are you able to afford a lot of the repairs that can potentially occur? You don't want to be house poor. Like when you pay your mortgage, are you still able to buy food and go out and travel, or you know, just have some of the nice luxurious things in life. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. Let me know what you all think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.